On to our semi-final, playing together for the first time. Louie and Stokey, Brian Lewis and Randy Stoklos up against Adam Johnson and Brooke Vandeweghe. The weather, 62 degrees, light breeze, cloudy. We are waiting for the sun to come out. It is not happening. It's, quite frankly, a miserable day. Well, it's a great day for volleyball players. It's a miserable day for the volleyball fans and the announcers.
It's cold up here. We've got our winter weather gear. You can see Greg Krause up there. He's got a windbreaker on, and indeed the cool temperatures will help the players. Verna Klubniken down below.
And Brooke Vandeweghe in the white, and he whips it right to Brian Lewis. Lewis puts it away, and Randy Stoklos and Brian Lewis, you are going to see two of the finest setters on the beach. 2-0 is our score. The first 2 points scored Brian Lewis. He's 25 years old, from San Francisco, California originally, now lives in Costa Mesa.
It's one of the main reasons why Randy Stoklos picked Brian Lewis to be his future partner, because of his ability to set the ball.
Vandeweghe pumps it through. Stoklos passes the ball with a lot of spin.
It's probably Randy's, maybe his only weakness, his ability to pass the ball consistently well, take the spin off jump serves. And Brian Lewis, one of the few players out here, has strong enough hands to go ahead and set the vast majority of those passes with his hands.
Adam Johnson with over $409,000 in total prize money. He's wearing black today. Stoklos is in red. And Louie is without shirt at the moment. He cuts it into the middle of the net. 1 serving 2. Johnson and Vandeweghe coming off that fabulous victory 2 weeks ago. Of course, that was in San Antonio, Texas, the first win for them together as a team, the first win ever for Brooke Vandeweghe, as Adam Johnson sets to serve. Stoklos, and it's off and out of bounds. So the ball to Lewis and Stoklos off the dig of Adam Johnson. And Randy Stoklos has been interviewed this week more by the press than maybe any time in his career.
Well, it's a big breakup. There's no doubt that, well, you know, when we travel around the country, who do players want to see? They say, where's Smith and Stoklos, where's Smith and Stoklos? They have become synonymous with the game. But, you know, there's a 4-year difference in age between Randy and Sinjin, and it was bound to happen. It was just a question of when, not if.
Randy Stoklos is 32. His longtime partner out of the tournament with Tim Hovland in 9th place is 36. So Brooke Vandeweghe serving. Vandeweghe is 29, and here comes Lewis, the youngster of the group. Oh, what a great play by Vandeweghe. Can he put it away? Yes, he does. Brooke Vandeweghe with an acrobatic left hand, one arm bandit spear job down the line.
Brooke Vandeweghe has been coming on for a long time, but he's the most improved player in 1993. My vote, anyway, by far. He's now in the mix, 29 years old now, right in his peak. He should be playing his best volleyball now, and you can see a big guy at 6'5".
Lewis, and Lewis tattoos Vandeweghe in the backcourt. So Johnson going to do, apparently, some blocking against Brian Lewis. How about Brian Lewis? Is the pressure on him today, and how much?
Sure, it's on. I think there's pressure on both Stoklos and that man, Brian Lewis, 6'1", if that tall. Very good jump server, very good setter, excellent hitter from the right side. But I think the pressure's on both Stoklos and Brian Lewis. Anytime you have a new team, there's chemistry, you're trying to find one another, and we'll see what happens under pressure. Of course, they lost to Curie and Steffes decisively in the finals of the winner's bracket.
Adam Johnson has really improved this year. He started with a 9th in Hawaii, got 5th in New York, and a 17th in Fort Myers, Florida. He was playing with Steve Timmons at that time. And then it was the teaming of Brooke Vandeweghe that has really brought him back to life, at least mentally. And Johnson certainly one of the most gifted volleyball players on tour, but finding a partner is tough. Just ask Randy Stoklos.
Well, and you know, Adam Johnson maybe thought that Brooke Vandeweghe was a compromise, maybe a stop in the middle of the road. Randy Stoklos, big, getting on as well. 32 years of age, and I think that had a lot to do with making the change now.
Lewis with the dig. It's 2-2. And Johnson right back at you. AJ Stoklos digging right back. And back over to Vandeweghe. Very windy here now. Gusting, and Vandeweghe chops it cross court.
That's a heck of a rick by Brooke Vandeweghe on his offside. Been a right-sider as long as I can remember seeing Brooke Vandeweghe on tour. And on his offside, drilling inside Stoklos. That's a nice swing.
So Brooke Vandeweghe will serve. 2-2 is our score. 1 game to 15. Winner takes on Karchkarai and Kent Steffes, who have been very impressive so far. Stoklos off the low bump, and he jams it down the line. So Randy Stoklos gets the kill.
I was going to say about the partnership of Brooke Vandeweghe and Adam Johnson. I think Adam felt that Brooke was certainly a good player, but maybe a stopover on the way to somebody else, maybe Randy Stoklos. But Brooke has played so well that I think they're a team for the rest of the summer.
Tied at 2. Early action, and Lewis aces down the line. One of the things that Randy Stoklos likes about Brian Lewis, his new partner, he has an up-tempo jump serve. So first side change on the ace of Louis. 3-2 is our score.
Oh, I think it's a great deal because I was the first guy that Sinjin had an affair with after that breakup, and I hope that Sinjin and the Hav don't stay together very long because I'd like to get together with Sinjin again.
I think it's great for the sport and especially good for me. I had to play those guys so many times first or second round. It was torturous.
I'm kind of sad that they broke up because they used to be the funnest people to watch fight with each other. Every time they'd get on the court, they'd start bickering at each other, and it was always interesting to watch them.
A little excitement, a little fire, a little intensity, maybe a little fighting, maybe a little scratching. Sinjin and Randy had a tendency to do a little battling on the court. It's going to be interesting to see what they do when they're on opposite sides of the net.
Oh, I love it. I've been playing for 14 years, and all I ever hear is Smith, Stoklo, Smith, and S&S. I'm sick of hearing about those guys, and now I like hearing about them because everyone's asking, what's wrong with those guys? And I said, hey, you know, the sport's getting tough, and they're done, and I'm glad.
Well, I think anytime a team of guys is more than a couple of years apart in age, it's inevitable that they're going to break up. And Sinjin's, I think, almost 36, right around there. Randy's 32. Let's see, I'm 32 and a half. Kent's 25. Uh-oh. That doesn't fare too well for me, I guess.
So Randy Stoklos making the decision to dump, if you like that word, the most valuable player in 88, 89, 91, to dump Sinjin Smith. And Smith, quite frankly, did not fare very well with Tim Hovland, his partner. They had a little trouble with ball control.
Well, and it's going to be, well, Hov's a good passer, good digger, and of course we've talked about Smith for over a decade about his ability to control the ball. But there's nobody better on the beach than Randy Stoklos when it comes to setting the ball. And that's where Tim Hovland is really going to have to step up a little bit. And I think, quite frankly, he's become a better setter in the last couple of years. That team will be competitive, but can they win? I was interested in Karch's comment, you know, about the difference in age between he and Kent Steffes. Now, look, I'm 36, and you're 45. So what does that say about our partnership?
Time to get rid of the young guy. 7-3 is our score. Stoklos and Lewis leading Johnson and Vandeweghe. Stoklos, he is jumping and hitting as hard as he has all year. There's something about playing with a partner for the first time. If you're wondering, there are scores of teams that have teamed up for the first time that have won tournaments over the years. This is certainly not the first. It's been quite an accomplishment, but when I was talking to Karch earlier in the week, he said, yeah, there's something very euphoric about playing with a guy for the first time. You don't think about his bad traits. There's no past bad history. All you're thinking about is all the good stuff.
You're really pulling for each other on every play. You're not, you know, ragging on each other, play in, play out, and it starts to wear on you. This is a long, long season, but when you get with a new partner, especially when you know you're going out there with a chance to win the tournament, everything's very positive.
Good.
Tight set.
And a tight hit out of bounds. Louis going long. Point for Johnson and Vandeweghe. Johnson and Vandeweghe started off with a 9th and then worked their way up to a 4th in Phoenix, a 4th in Clearwater, got 5th in Austin, then 1st in San Antonio, and then 3rd last week. So it has been a very consistent team. As Lewis puts it away.
Beat the Brazilians this week to advance in this semifinal. Beat them for 4th place. Anginho and Loyola down in 4th this week, and they're a factor each and every week. Made it into the semifinals, and I feel awfully sorry for Brent Frohoff and Ricky Ludes, who have to play Anginho and Loyola in the round before the quarters every week right now because of how the brackets come out in their respective seeds. Adam Johnson looking at the defense. There you get a perfect example of set the ball and look at the defense and then communicate that information to the hitter.
Stoklos. And Johnson is there, looking for point number 5 off the back set score. What a play.
Vandy looked like Jeff Stork or Chris Marlowe on his best day, dishing the ball back over his head. Not a lot of players who have the guts or the talent to back set the ball out here. Beach volleyball, very, very different. The ball is heavier, not like an indoor ball at all, and you got to have lots of strength to set the ball that way. Johnson going to hit it.
And Louis is right there. No one except Vandeweghe.
Look at Louis make the play.
Out of bounds.
Vandeweghe and Johnson down on the scoreboard now by only 1, but smiles all around, making good plays and feeling more consistent and confident in their ability to side outs. Look at Louis with the knuckler. This is very early in what turned out to be a long rally. You knew AJ was going to hit this ball, but makes a mistake, hits it right to Brian Lewis. As play goes on, Vandeweghe making a phenomenal dig. Brian Lewis stretched out completely, and then Stoklos just really trying to keep that ball in play, make it tough. Hits it out down the line.
So Randy Stoklos and Brian Lewis still have the serve. But waiting in the wings, Karchgaray and Kanstevis, who have looked awesome so far in this tournament. They are undefeated in this double elimination tournament. And AJ to serve, his team trailing by 1. Johnson has an 80-pound Labrador Retriever named Bogart. Just got a new dog, a Golden Retriever, named it Bacall.
Bacall?
Bacall.
Like Lauren. Like Lauren. I like that. I like Lauren Bacall a lot.
Stoklos hammers one through. And Stokey will serve. Randy Stoklos, first win back in 1981 with Jim Menges. Jim Menges now one of the tournament directors, along with Matt Gage on the AVP tour. Both those guys do a great job in helping us out every week. And Vandeweghe tapping through. So Brooke Vandeweghe with the hammer. And Vandeweghe will serve. His great-grandfather owned the Bank of New York and built the Long Island Railroad. His grandfather, Ernest, had the patent to make fur coats soft. So he made a lot of money, absolutely. And his father, Ernie, of course, a star for the New York Knickerbockers, had a son named Kiki, who is here today. I saw Kiki a little earlier. And interestingly, you know, Kiki, you know what that stands for, Paul? Kiki Vandeweghe. His real name is Ernest. There's Ernest, 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 and Ernest in the family. But Kiki is the German nickname for kinks in his hair. He had a German nanny who couldn't say kinky. His hair was kinky as Stokey blocks AJ.
Puts the conky.
Kinky. Up high.
Johnson and Vandeweghe had been getting very steady in their side-out game, but Johnson just makes a mistake. Stoklos with a good early read, moving the block inside, taking away the cross court.
Stokey with a dig. And Stokey with a drillage. So some drillage by Randy Stoklos. And there's a side change. Lewis and Stoklos moving closer. They lead 9-6. And Craig Moodhart, they come in 5th. A big surprise there. Brent Furhoff and Ricky Luty's their 2nd straight 5th. Disappointing for them. Scott Akatubby back in action along with Eric Fenoy Moana. They finished 7th. They played well. Robert Chavez, Chris Young got a 7th. Congratulations to them. Sinjin Smith and Tim Hovland, a very, very disappointing 9th, along with Dan Verbalovich and Troy Tanner. Brett Gonerman and Lance Lyons moving up. Good young team, and Leif Hansen and Bill Bouillon played well. Some of the finishers here in San Diego, California. Oh, we're still going. Okay, the gang in 13th tonight. All right. Hanley and Swadek got a 13th. Sean Davis and Dane Selznick, the former world champion, down to 13th. So our crew doing an ace job today. And Lots of euphoric finishes this week and some disappointment.
Yeah, some disappointment. I'm sure Smith and Hovland would have liked to have finished a lot higher, and they will. And I saw Scott Akatubby at breakfast this morning, and on the back of his Primitive Prince T-shirt, it says, "Axe back."
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I'm very, very glad to see him back. I know he went through a very difficult time, and looks very physically fit. Strong up top. Looks like he's been spending a lot of time in the weight room, and a 7th with Eric Fenoy Moana, and Akatubby, if he stays with Fenoy, will continue to be competitive and let him prove himself for a couple of more weeks, and he's going to have a lot of messages on his answering machine come Monday morning for partner switches.
Had physical problems for about 7 months, did Akatubby. Seems to be completely recovered and back in action. So here we go. Johnson and Vandeweghe trying to hold off Stoklos and Lewis. And the net, so Stoklos and Lewis make another good play, another point.
Unforced error again by Brooke Vandeweghe, deciding, and I think rightfully so, hitting this overpass. There's Vandy hitting the tight set, and the net is not moving. Oh, there's the second swing. Okay, there you go. Good call. Good call.
Come on, come on.
11-6 is our score.
Timeout. 45 seconds.
Timeout.
Full timeout, bro. Please.
So the full timeout taken by Johnson and Vandeweghe. 3 minutes and 41 seconds. We're coming back to San Diego. Stoklos and Lewis by 5.
30.
Back at the Miller Lite San Diego Open, Stoklos, his team leading by 7, 13-6. Johnson and Vandeweghe really haven't played that badly.
But they haven't made anything happen.
Yeah.
You know, they've just kind of gone along and been siding out for periods of time and played pretty well early, but not making it happen on the defensive end. Vandeweghe has not blocked a ball, and I keep making the same point, but that's what has led to their good performances. Johnson digging and Vandeweghe blocking, and they haven't had it.
Once again, that quick little set, and no one. And Junior and Loyola are running that. One guy makes the good pass, and you see a little quick set almost, or a little shoot set.
Well, when the ball is served to you short, it makes life a lot easier if you can just pass the ball and keep coming at the same pace. Then you're okay.
So here comes Brian Lewis. Vandeweghe taking the nice high set.
Come on.
Johnson snapping one through. AJ, Adam Johnson. And the kill on the side out. So Johnson and Vandeweghe in trouble here, big trouble. They trail by 7 points. And AJ will serve. And Lewis off the net, catches the line just barely.
I remember about a month and a half ago when we were in Fort Myers Beach, Florida, first tournament of the year, I was talking to Randy Stoklos about the prospect of splitting up with Sinjin Smith, and he said, I really don't want to talk about it.
Yes.
I said, okay, fair's fair. And then later on, we were doing an interview with Brian Lewis. And I said, Louis, how would you think about playing with Randy Stoklos? And he said, well, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Did he?
And he was right. I don't know if he counted on it this year, but he was fairly confident that one day they would be teammates.
Stoklos, and right to Johnson. Chance for a point here. Vandeweghe couldn't get it by Lewis. And Lewis cracks it hard. How do you hit if you're a smaller player on the beach? Deep.
High and deep trajectory. Remember trajectory. You don't have to crank the ball straight down, and you're making a mistake most of the time. If you're doing, you'll pay. And really got to work on having a fast arm swing, and Brian Lewis has both of those things.
So here comes Louis, 13-6 is the lead.
And the sun finally poking its head out, probably just in time to see a victory by Lewis and Stoklos.
Side out.
Once again, Randy Stoklos and Brian Lewis playing defense behind his block are just going to pick a side of the court and be very, very patient. They know the time is on their side. 2 minutes and change left on the clock. 13-6 lead. Louis just going to pick his spot. And if Johnson and Vandereay make a mistake offensively and hit the ball to him, he's going to convert it. Otherwise, he's not going to go chasing all over the court right now, because waiting, of course, in the finals is Vandereay and Kent Steffes.
So Stoklos trying to wrap it up for his team. And down the line, going again. Smith and Stoklos, when they played together, really never had any signals. Stoklos would just get up there and try to block what he could, and Smith would freelance. You think Stoklos and Lewis will have more signals?
Well, and actually, it's in the latter couple of months, including going back to last year, Stoklos and Smith started using some signals and trying to be more effective on the defensive end. But Lewis and Stoklos, I think, using it each and every time right now.
So Brian Lewis trying to wrap it up. 1:57 to go. Crowd is dead right now. As you might imagine, in a long, drawn-out game, Stoklos and Lewis, not much drama in this one. There were some good plays earlier. This is going to be another point for Lewis and Stoklos. At least it should be. Play action. And I think that's on purpose.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's not even communicated. It's just a nod and a wink and bombs away.
1 point away for Louis and Stokey to go into the final.
Of California. And congratulations.
Back in San Diego, California, Randy Stoklos and his partner Brian Lewis just 1 point away from moving into our championship final against Vandereay and Kent Steffes. Most everybody thought that was what was going to happen, Paul, that Lewis and Stoklos would be a very good team together, and they have looked very, very sharp here.
Well, offensively, they've been perfect. Two of the best setters. I think if you're going to look at the best setters out here on the beach, Brian Lewis and Randy Stoklos are in the top 5, along with...
Oh, they're better than that, I think.
No, they're both in the top 5.
All right.
They're both
individually.
1, 2, 3. I think
you.
Stoklos is number 1. I'm just not sure if Lewis is 2, 3, or 4.
Okay.
You got Brent Frohoff, Scott Akatubby, and then, of course, you can talk about some others. But you take the setting skill. Brian Lewis, a good passer. Randy Stoklos, an accurate passer, but Lewis doesn't seem to be having any trouble whatsoever setting Randy Stoklos' spinning passes.
Game point now for Lewis and Stoklos. Vandereay, Louis with a dig, and Stoklos set him. Medium cut. Johnson, and out of the reach.
Lewis does that too much. I know that way ahead, and they've played very, very good volleyball, but he just sticks out one hand defensively way too much. He's better than that, and is going to need to concentrate a little bit. Stoklos funnels the offense to you. He's got to get both hands on the ball as you can and pop the ball straight up.
AJ serving 1:35 to go in this one. Johnson and Vandereay just have not been up to Lewis and Stoklos. Not enough defense, not enough serving, not enough blocking for AJ and Vandy. They're going to have another top 3 finish this week, however. Unfortunately, it's the 3rd place variety of the top 3. Second, game point. Stoklos. Oh my gosh, they're calling that I've seen that a couple of times. Is that not a driven ball?
That's a driven ball. You have to hit it hard, not as hard as you possibly can. Brooke Vandereay, I think, with a good dig, but Stoklos and Lewis, we're going to win anyway.
So Randy Stoklos and Brian Lewis advance.
Thanks, man.
And we'll come back. Halftime activities for you after this.